Are you kidding me? Ron DeSantis exposes Florida rhinos backstabbing Trump on immigration. To Florida? How dare you? Ron DeSanctimonious and the Rhino Brigade. Why are you protecting the hospitality workers that work at Donald Trump's properties from deportation? Why?
The first 100 days of the Trump administration have been breathtaking. A lot.
Well, I wouldn't recommend it if you're around him because, phew.
Not like the early days of Ron DeSantis in Florida.
Rhonda who?
And what he's doing in Florida is trying to get the state to do everything they can to make sure that Trump's policies are going through, especially on illegals. There is a house with these unbelievable rhinos.
Terrible.
That in a special session, they didn't want to come back because they.
But they just made a point of it because they're worried it's going to deport their nanny and the house rapists they have cutting their hedges.
Said it's not an emergency. What are you talking about?
So it's not an emergency. It's an ongoing issue. Also, why wouldn't they comply? Are there sanctuary city issues or whatever? Or is Disney putting pressure on you because some of the staff around them their paperwork might not be in order? Or is it really just all of Trump's properties? Or are they afraid that they'll look at all the Russians in Trump Tower, Miami? Inquiring minds want to, fuck it.
Ron DeSantis called for a special session because he said the president was just put in office. I want all of the tools on the table to help him.
He either has the power to do it as the president of the United States or he doesn't. And what are you going to have him do? Rewrite the Florida Constitution quickly?
Solve this problem.
It's why can't he solve it on his own, you lazy fuck?
The rhinos said no, and then they started to...
Why are you wearing a turquoise cuff? What's happening? What is this? What are you doing? I feel like Glenn Beck is like a paper doll. He comes with like little foldy outfits.
Change everything that he wanted, and then have the balls to name it the Trump Act. Really? The Trump Act? And Ron DeSantis, governor, is with us now to tell us a little bit about the Trump Act. Welcome to the program, Governor. How are you?
I'm doing good. A week ago today, we were preparing for a historic snowstorm at our...
Yeah, they were preparing for it because that's how you get some fur and you get ready for the snow. You prepare.
State record had been 4 inches. We actually hit last week 10 inches of snow in northwest Florida and Milton.
Yes, climate change is bullshit, folks. Write that down in your in your notebook. And
then you saw the beaches covered in snow. So it's kind of an interesting period for Florida. Where's the global warming when you need it, right?
Okay. Well, it's shifting the temperature of the oceans, which is moving around the weather systems. That's what's happening. It's warming up the East Coast because that's how it works.
Okay, so tell me about, because what I've seen, what's happening with Wilton Simpson is an abomination. Tell me Tell me who you're fighting and what you're fighting against and for.
Yeah, because we really have no fucking idea.
Well, you hit it on the head. They didn't want to do anything on illegal immigration. And after the election...
Gee, it's almost like most of the industries in Florida rely on undocumented immigrants to keep prices low so that right-wingers in the state can live high on the hog and that they can basically use threats of deportation and fear to control the working people of the state. I'm just kidding. What?
I said, this is our chance. This is the number one issue the president ran on, and we need to get it right. And so there's no way President Trump can fulfill his mandate if the state and local governments and law enforcement are not actively supporting his deportation efforts. I mean, think about it. He's come out of the gate strong.
Why? Why not? I mean, again, the active support, what do you mean? On the ground? You want the taxpayers of Florida to pick up the bill for Trump's deportation plan because you don't want him to have to go to the federal government, to the Congress, and get more money for it. So you basically want to hide that money on the backs of law enforcement inside the state. And that's what you're trying to do. Basically, it's a subsidy from the state of Florida.
but they've done about probably 700, 800 arrests on average a day. Let's just say 1,000. Well, extrapolate that out, 365,000 a year times 4. Biden let in 10 million illegals on his own. Now, I do
No, he didn't.
think the Trump administration will ramp up. I think they'll get better numbers as time goes on.
Right. Except they aren't here. The number is bullshit.
But if you just had every red state, say all police departments, all sheriff's departments, all state agent, law enforcement agencies have to participate maximally in the programs that the Trump administration's offering for immigration enforcement, you would increase those numbers dramatically.
What's slowing them down in the state? You mean because the mayors have to sign off on this and they got bigger fish to fry, especially in Democratic cities in Florida? You know, the ones that make all the money?
That is what we have to do. We've got to be ready to go. We've got to work hand in glove. Now, what you'll have in California and in Chicago, they're going to be trying to sabotage Trump's agenda. They're going to be sanctuary jurisdictions. Now, we don't allow that in Florida, but I think most states who are not sanctuary, they're just going to say, hey, it's the federal government's responsibility. Yeah, we won't sabotage it, but we're not going to be in that fight. Right. I don't think that's adequate.
Well, tough shit. We have a Customs and Border Patrol. We have ICE for a reason. If they don't have enough people, let the president go to the Congress and say, I need to hire more ICE agents and I need to hire more Customs and Border Patrol people. He doesn't get to commandeer the like every standing traffic cop in every jurisdiction just because.
This is
Yeah, you know, there are like murders and thefts and robberies and shit you pretend to care about when there's a Democrat in office, but as soon as a Republican's in office, you're like, what crime? That they're investigating and people they're tracking down and fugitives they have to find and you know, it's Florida, so serial killers. So that they've got a job to fucking do. So the idea that Trump can just roll in and commandeer them to just do roundups in fucking neighborhoods, some of which they're, by the way, in the middle of investigations in with legal immigrants and legal citizens.
Historic moment for this country. We've been talking about this issue for decades.
So? And you won by a hair's breadth. You didn't get a landslide. You're not going to get everybody on board. And you got to be able to convince people that it's worth fucking while.
Yes, Trump is absolutely right by going after the cartels and designating them foreign terrorist organizations. Obviously, we need to build the wall and fortify the border.
Yeah, I agree. The beaches in Florida are unsecure, and we need to build we basically need to put a wall condom on Florida.
But you have this massive problem of interior enforcement, and so that's what we're proposing, as well as other things that are important. Legislature didn't want to do it. I called the special session against their wishes. They said it was premature, that it could wait. But, you know, they got blowback from their constituents. So they thought if they came in, gutted with the enforcement of doing what we need to do, and just name it the Trump Act, that somehow they would be able to get away with that.
Okay. They've got to have text for this thing, right? Oh, shit. Okay, Florida, the Trump Act. Okay, let's see. This is going to be good. The Trump Act. By the way, I would like to remind you, regular viewers and new people, and hello and welcome and share the show and all that kind of stuff. I'd like to remind you that these are Republicans arguing about other Republicans who allegedly won with a mandate. You look like Chris Cornell. Oh, that's very nice. That's very sweet. He is a lot prettier than I was, than I am. Let's see. Promises Trump Act. I need the fucking text of it, you weirdo. Oh, here it is. The Florida legislature. What is the Trump Act? Here it is. Passed a sweeping immigration bill Tuesday, setting aside $500 million in public funds to help carry out Trump's thing. In a state where roughly 1 in every 5 residents is an immigrant, the legislation would require every level of government, as well as government. Where's the fucking text? He wanted to pass. Lawmakers pushed through an 80-plus page bill titled "The Tackling and Reforming Unlawful Migration Policy," or Trump Act, through a special session when it's harder for the public to engage in the legislative process. I appreciate the attempts at what does it entail? Okay, so let's take a look. Okay, this is what does the Trump Act entail? Well, it gives it assigns everyone a nunt and makes neck queefs mandatory. Okay, hold on. Wait, let me try to blow this up. There you go. Get this out of the way. Okay. What does the Trump Act entail? Measure passed by lawmakers would create a new state immigration enforcement office with more than 140 employees under the direct. Oh, hey, they're shrinking government, guys, and getting more efficient. Newly minted chief immigration officer, probably Matt Gaetz, I'm guessing, a post to be taken by the state's commissioner of agriculture. That makes sense because, you know, he knows where people are, like the workers are, and he knows which businesses they're trying to help and which businesses they aren't. So they can selectively enforce undocumented immigrants working on, you know, orange groves and shit like that. I see. Okay, that's smart. The state commissioner would cede emergency immigration enforcement powers from the governor to the state immigration officer, so the governor doesn't have to take shit about it. Bill allocates $100 million for grants to local law enforcement agencies for training equipment reimbursement for leasing detention facilities, which they don't have. It allocates another $375 million to fund the state's cooperation with the federal government. Why? Efforts include related to a program that deputizes local law enforcement for duties typically performed by ICE agents. So this is state taxes that they are using to fund Trump's federal program. Again, this is just them shoring it up so that he doesn't have to let the American taxpayer know how much this shit is costing, especially in red states. It also sets aside $25 million to give $1,000 bonuses to local law enforcement who cooperate with the federal government. So if you sign up for the duty, you get $1,000 bonus, which ain't dick. If you endanger your life in this situation for $1,000, spread thinly. Oh, good Lord. I'm looking California with feeling Minnesota. It's kind of true, actually. If we really don't want our school resource officers, social workers, and our teachers defining for themselves what the fullest extent of cooperation needs to be, then we need to define that. So, okay, because it's not in the bill. It would also repeal a decade-old state law allowing Florida students who are in the country without legal permission to qualify for in-state tuition at public colleges and universities, which is like a DACA leftover, which as of the 2023-2024 fiscal year benefited from about 6,500 students. In a sign of how much the state's immigration politics have changed in recent years, the tuition measure was sponsored in 2014 by the state's now Lieutenant Governor, a Republican from Miami. Oh, these rhinos. I implore you today to remember the haunting yet challenging words of our Lieutenant Governor when she said, "It's the right thing to do." Democratic Senator Darrell Rouson told his colleagues on the Senate floor. And what has changed since then? Except the attitude towards immigrants, or how openly these assholes feel about speaking about it. Hold on. Yikes! Get over here. There we go. No, not that. This. Yeah, here you go.
Obama named Obamacare the Affordable Care Act. Obviously, it wasn't affordable. Biden named his spending boondoggle the Inflation Reduction Act. Obviously, that didn't work out.
It actually did.
So they're playing this game where if they put Trump's name...
Wait a minute, Republicans did this in your state legislature. Don't throw this shit on fucking Obama and Biden or the very nature of how bills are named. Sorry, if you want, pass a law against acronyms in bills, if that's your issue. Call it the Maya Act, the make acronyms illegal again.
On a weak bill.
Why the fuck is he on a horse? What is happening? What is this? Is he picking his nose? And that's shit.
Somehow people think it's going to be good, and it's totally inadequate. But here's the thing, Glenn. Before I became governor, Florida was very weak on illegal immigration.
Yeah, that's why Trump moved there. That's why he bought property there.
And part of it was they thought because Hispanic population here, you had to be. I proved that wrong because yes. I was the strongest governor, and I had a record Hispanic vote in 2022. So that was wrong. But then you do have this desire for cheap, illegal alien labor in some of
Yeah, Doral, Mar-a-Lago, I don't know, Epstein's groundskeepers. They're all related.
These industries, and I think that's what these guys are trying to preserve. I don't think they want to see immigration enforcement the way you would need to fulfill President Trump's mandate. So,
Why was that? Why is that? What would that do to, I don't know, the price of frozen concentrated orange juice? God damn it, I got to watch Trading Places again.
They made it sound like initially it was a difference of opinion on timing, but understand what they're proposing, it's a difference of values. The values that we all ran on, that
between Republicans in the House and or the state Senate, I guess, in Florida,
Donald Trump got elected on, that all your listeners subscribe to, those are reflected in the proposals that I did. They are not reflected in what the Florida legislative leaders are doing. And you
it's just, and what he means is they're not dicks enough.
mentioned the Commissioner of Agriculture. They're actually taking away immigration enforcement authority from the governor and putting it in the Commissioner of Agriculture. That's like the fox guarding the hen house. They don't want to enforce it. Are you kidding me?
Crazy.
And even stripping some of the things I have now, like E-Verify, they want to put that over there. So
it's almost like these guys know that while you have designs on being president one day, which isn't going to happen, the rest of them are kind of glass ceilinged in the business community in Florida itself, and they want to grow themselves into a situation where they can leave office and retire, or leave office and continue whatever business they had or might want to have after they leave office. And to do that, they got to play nice with the biggest moneymakers in the state, one of them being the orange growers and the other whatever industries that they have there. I don't know what the fuck they grow there. Florida kale, coconut, the sunscreen plant, the sunscreen trees, something like that. That's why.
Really, really bad product. And here's the thing. I think some of them are caught up in, we don't want the governor to get the win. We're sick of him always doing all this stuff. I don't need pride of ownership.
Sorry, the Republicans in your state are sick of you winning. Yeah, that sounds believable.
Ownership, they can take 100% of the credit. I just want to get the job done. And if we're not doing what needs to be done,
again, I don't know what went further. Again, they're being complete assholes, like probably to the most extent they could without driving up. Again, Trump has two conflicting mandates. One is get all the illegals out of the country, and two is keep grocery prices low. Those trains are in a head-on collision, and some people know that. And it seems like the Senate in Florida knows this. They know that these two trains are on the same fucking track, and they are silver streaking towards each other right now.
Right now, to get ready for this. Then there'll be some successes. Don't get me wrong, but we're not going to be able to actually deliver on the mandate that the voters gave us. And here, just the final.
Why? It gives bonuses and extra money for trains. This is fucking stupid. Sorry. How can you justify paying everyone in the state of Florida with your hate rush? Am I? I don't think I am, Moon Girl. I think I'm speaking specifically about the Republicans in the Senate right now. I mean, I might joke about Florida Man on occasion, but, and again, I made the point about Democratic cities not complying, and that's probably why he's complaining. That's what he wants them to give him, like, overreach in that area, but largely so that they can benefit, the big ag down there can benefit from the cheap labor. I don't think I was shitting. Was that the feeling that everybody got in this job? That was not my intention. To vilify the average citizenry of Florida, just Ron DeSantis and the other Republicans he is fighting with. Okay, that was not the intention, Moon Girl. Fear not.
Point I make: Republicans all run for 4 years in Florida. They all ran on bashing Biden's border policies, saying we needed to get tough, supporting Donald Trump's agenda in 2024.
Yeah, but that was all bullshit, Joel.
All ran on that. Not one Republican ran and said, you know what, we just need to give it all to the Commissioner of Agriculture. State and local shouldn't be required to help the federal government. They wouldn't do any of that. And now they're bragging about they're going to spend money on giving beds for illegals. I don't want to house the illegals. I want to deport the illegals.
It is remarkable to me. I mean,
yeah, but you're keeping families together until you can. And if the priority is, again, all right, if you're doing a roundup, this is how fucking stupid these guys are. I'm not even for this, but I understand it better than they do. That's what's fucking maddening, okay? The beds are, and why they want the beds is because if you don't have a place to put people humanely while they're waiting to be deported, and your planes are already full with the murders and the criminals and the gang members and the people who are in prisons, or the ones you catch in these specific roundups, which again, there aren't nearly as many people as they say they are, and that's what they're going to butt up against. But let's just say you've only got a few flights coming out of Florida on the regular, moving people out. They're catching a few hundred people or whatever. But if you want to round up a bunch of people, you either have to let them go, which is the catch and release part, or you've got to put them someplace. That's why they put money in the fucking bill to like expand like jails and prisons and other places to hold these people until they can be deported. How the fuck? This is your awful, stupid fucking plan. Why do I understand the necessity of this particular step more than you do? Like, this flabbergasted horse shit is... I'm almost more stunned by how stupid both these guys are.
First of all, Wilton Simpson, he wants to be governor. When you're not governor, he's going to run in the next cycle. He's compromised. He is the guy who supported giving in-state tuition to illegal aliens. He gave the...
So did everybody in the fucking state when it happened, dummy.
Cut out for E-Verify, so agriculture didn't have to worry about it. Refused to provide law enforcement resources during the original border crisis. This guy is...
Sorry, the original border crisis? What do you mean the original border crisis?
Is not a helper when it comes to doing the...
Not a helper. And that's important to Republicans, being a helper.
The things that Americans have just said they want to be done. Who is also... I mean, I'm just looking up... you've got the Senate President, Ben Albritton, House Speaker Daniel Perez. They seem to be in the same boat as Wilton Simpson. Who needs the pressure?
Well, like, who can I sick my idiots on who don't live in the state but will call them pretending that they do?
Look, I think that just all the legislators, they just need to hear from their constituents. And
no, I just think everybody should call the governor and go, why haven't you solved this yet? Attack him with the stroke of the pen fallacy. Weaponize it.
They're getting upset, saying that somehow like they're getting threatened because some of their constituents are telling them that this is not right. But that they need to be held accountable for their actions. And if what...
Hang on. Held accountable and threatened are not the same fucking thing, dumbass. Now, again, why am I helping? These are other Republicans.
They did. If what they're doing is consistent with what they told the voters they were doing, they're not going to have any problem, right?
Yep.
But I'll tell you, Glenn, I've been doing this now for 6 years. I've never seen our base react more negatively on an issue than what the legislature is trying to pull right now. It is like...
Yeah, and they did it anyways. You know why? Because they're listening to the phone calls they're getting, and they understand that the fucking wackos that are calling them don't understand that if they run all of the undocumented immigrants off the farms in Florida, every orange in the fucking state will rot, and the GDP of the state will take a 6% hit in 6 months. Summer's coming, you dumb motherfucker. Seriously. Where are you gonna fuck? Like, who's gonna man the restaurants during the summer? Good Lord.
99-1 in terms of opposition. So
yeah, it's almost like they're thinking it through, and they're thinking past this moment of panic, and they're going, hey, I have to get reelected, and if I agree to this, even if people seem to like it right now, I know it's going to be bad.
I think sunlight's the best disinfectant.
Yep.
People just have to make their voice heard.
Have you ever thought of saying that kind of in a skin cancer ward? That'd be a great thing. That'd be hilarious. Why don't you tattoo that on your forehead and walk through a place where people have carcinoma, melanoma, some kind of a noma. I don't know.
But we shouldn't let this slip through our fingertips. I think some of it is, some inside baseball up there. Wilton Simpson was the Senate president. A lot of the stuff, tough immigration policies we did 2 years ago, I wasn't able to get through when he was Senate president because he did block it, and he did support things like driver's licenses for illegals when he was in the Florida Senate. But he really exercises a lot of influence over the Florida Senate. So the fact that he was put into that bill.
Influence?
I don't think that was an accident. I think that was definitely something that they were trying to do. And does it even pass the laugh test?
No.
Yes, it does. You're both hilariously out of touch with what your constituents actually want. You know, look, okay. I mean, fuck these guys. We're not going to learn anything from this gibberish beyond what we already have. But I'd like to be abundantly clear. When there's something in entertainment where they've always said for the longest time, give the audience what they want. And I have argued for quite some time, at least since the TV show Moonlighting, also X-Files, also a lot of other things, that you give the audience what they want, not what they think they want. Because an audience, if you ask them about what they want when they watch the X-Files, what they want is Sculler and like Mulder and Scully to get together, right? Or they want, you know, I'm fucking up the names too because Maddie and what's the name on Moonlighting. Point being is that they want them to get together. They think, I want them to kiss. I want them to get together. And then that happens, and Dave and Maddie, thank you. That Mulder and Scully, so the point is, they think they want them to get together. And then when it happens, show's over. Nobody watches after that. Because they don't want anything else, right? What they wanted was not the kiss. What they watched for, what kept them coming back, was the tension of whether it would. So what the audience really came for was the tension, the sexual tension, the draw of the whole thing, the chemistry. Will it happen? Can it happen? Right? That's really what brought the audience. That's what they wanted. They showed up every week with that feeling, and it went through it's Scully and Muldoon. That's there you go. Sam and Diane. There you go. Another great example on Cheers. That once they do it, tension's gone. That's not what you wanted. You didn't want it to be over. You wanted that feeling. You wanted that tension. You wanted and the long-suffering nature of it, right? And a lot of times what they would do is they'd give you what you want and the show's over, because it's not that you're not going to tune in next week because the tension's gone. And I showed up for the tension. Now it's a real relationship. Now I don't know if it's going to work or not or whatever. Yeah, it's a way of jumping the shark. But that tease is so, meaningful. Now, in a lot of these situations, legislatures versus the president or somebody who's got, like, again, senators in the federal government have a 6-year term and the president only has 4. So these guys have to get elected after or during the next president's cycle. So if they're elected at the beginning of a president's cycle, he can't do anything about their job until, and if he can't get reelected, he can't chip away at their power even in the next 2 years. But they've got to get reelected in the middle of the next, whatever the president, whether it's a single term or 2 terms, in the middle of the next term, right? And so they've got to think about that, both in their fundraising, but also in what do their constituents want on a 6-year arc as opposed to a 4-year arc, or in the case of the House, a 2-year arc, which is why the House is full of fucking panic all the time, because they're always in re-election mode. I mean, I personally think that House members should get 4 years and the president should get 6, the same as a senator. I can think of some people that I would not want in office for 6 years, but maybe people would think a little longer about it if they didn't think of it as 2/3 the length of a Senate term. But that's these people realize they're getting phone calls from these people who are freaking out right now because Trump's on a high and they're pushing this 100 days and they want to help him bank some wins so that people don't realize how full of shit he is. And these people need to get reelected. They need their communities to actually flourish, and this will gut them because he doesn't give a fuck. He's worried about his nationwide power, and there are certain states where this will fuck them worse than others. Agricultural states especially know this. And I got to say, I think a lot of us are in this position where we're like, you know what? I'm not rooting for anybody, and I don't want to tell people I told you so, but maybe that's what it's going to take this time around. And so that's why, again, I've said that, like, some Democrats who are laying off the gas pedal or the resistance pedal, as it were, in the middle of it, is so that this asshole can get out over his skis. So these people can go, well, it would have worked. It was awesome. He had a great plan, but you guys fucked it up. Right? We know this is going to fail, and we know a Democrat's going to clean up after this shit again. Right? And I feel like I want to see this play out. I want to, to some degree. What's he doing with Guantanamo? He's sending some of the violent predators that they can't repatriate to there, so they're because there's an immigrant holding facility in Guantanamo that we've had for a long time. It's not that uncommon. Again, we often focus on Guantanamo for the permanent residents there, but there are people who are there that, for a myriad of reasons, they temporarily go through there if they're being, extradited. They're international terrorists. They're being sought by Interpol or whatever. That's where we put them. Some of them can be put at Rikers. Some of them can be put at federal detention centers. But some of them are so dangerous they put them down at Guantanamo. That's it. And it's not that new. So, yeah, it's been 9 days. And again, what's he done? He signed a bunch of executive orders that are just like, I direct the government to create a commission to look into vaccines or whatever. Okay, fine. Waste the taxpayers' money, try to do that on the cheap, come back with a report and go, actually, it's fine. It's going to be the fucking drone thing I showed you over and over again. Oh, yeah, we looked at it, maggots. You gave us a mandate, and we went in there and we looked. And what did we find? We found out that the Biden administration was telling you the truth. I don't think they voted on RFK today, did they? They just had the hearing. Because I think they want another one. But anyways, yes, it's the golden age now. It absolutely is. I can feel it.